Welcome back to Art with Ryan, and today we are doing something super special that I'm very excited about. We are going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite artists, Alice Neel. But before we begin, go ahead and hit the subscription box below and the notification bell above. So let's talk a little bit about Miss Alice Neel. So, Miss Alice Neel was born January 28th, 1900 in Gladwin, PA. She died October 13th, 1984. Some of the things she's famous for painting are Andy Warhol after he was shot, where he shows with all of his cuts. She's famous for painting people in a yellow armchair that she had. And she was also famous for painting people with a blue outlined style, which she was very famous for. You're going to see it here in this image. Right now we're looking at how she uses the negative space and brush strokes to kind of like give you these ideas. See this blue line right here? So it's covered with pink and other colors, but you'll see that blue really does come through on other images. Right here in the ear, she uses it, she almost creates a coloring book and then fills in the images. So Alice Neel was an American visual artist who has been known for her portraits depicting friends, family, lovers, poets, artists, and strangers. Her paintings have an expressionistic use of line and color, psychological acumen, and emotional intensity. So some of her other compadres or people who like to compare themselves to her is that Alex Katz likes to say that he paints like Alice Neel in the sense that he paints from real life. Well, if you look here in the hair, Alice Neel is very quickly painting this. This is a painting of a woman named Martha. And it was this, how I got the video of this image is that it was on sale at Christie's in September of 2018. And it was their September 27th art sale in which this image came up for sale. So I was wandering through and I was looking through, and I think I have another video about that actual sale. But these images here are significantly more interesting. This is like the most interesting image that I found in that entire sale. And people were walking past it, and there was a bunch of Louise Nevelson and Cause and Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst and a bunch of other stuff that people were oohing and eyeing over. But the sheer technicality of this image right here. Now, we're looking at the top of her head right here, and you can see just the sheer masterful strokes that she was doing. I've seen other Alice Neels where they're probably done in like the 30s or 40s, and they're just, how do I say this? Terrible. Just terrible. Yeah. Ugh. The Museum of the MoMA in New York has several Alice Neels. Curator of Modern Contemporary Art at the Museum of Fine Art Houston, one of the personal greatest portrait artists of the called her one of the greatest portrait artists of the 20th century. I think that's something that everyone can aspire to, is the fact that she is considered like that highly regarded by her peers in the art industry. I mean, I would love to have that kind of recognition for my art, but I don't think I will ever get there. So a little more about Alice Neel. Alice Neel was born January 20th, 1900 to George Washington Neel, an accountant in Pennsylvania Railroad. And Alice Neel, her family moved to rural town of Cowlin, Pennsylvania. Young Alice was fourth out of 5 children and 3 brothers and a sister. Her old brother Hartley died of diphtheria shortly after she was born. He was the only 8-year-old She was raised into a straight-laced middle-class family during a time where limited exceptions and opportunities for women. Her mother had said to her, "I don't know how you expect to do in the world. You're only a girl." Ugh! That's terrible. In 1918, she graduated from high school. She took civil service, a high-paying clinical position in order to support her parents. After 3 years working, taking art classes by night. Look at the neck on this. Just look at the neck on this. Ugh, it's so good! So good! And her students' works rejected Impressionism, the popular style at the time. They attended and embraced a school of realism. It believed the influence of most pragmatic figures in the something school. Who also taught, okay, who cares? She met an upper-class Cuban painter in 1924, Carlos Enriquez, at the Chester Spring Summer School ran by PAFA. The couple married in the June 1st, 1925 in Pennsylvania. Neel soon moved to Havana to live with Enriquez's family in Fajal. Neel was embraced by the burgeoning Cuban avant-garde, a set of young writers, artists, musicians, and the environment. Neel developed the foundations for her lifelong political consciousness and committed to equality. Neel later said she had her solo exhibition in Havana, but there are no dates or locations to confirm this. In 1927, Neel exhibited with her husband in the XXI Salon de Belles Arts. The exhibit included Victor Manuel Valdez, Marcelo Pigotole, Emilia Palese, who were all part of the Cuban vanguardia movement. During this time, she had seen servants and lived in. She had 7 servants and lived in a mansion. Okay, Neel's daughter Santilio was born December 26, 1926. Though the couple returned to the United States to live in New York, just a month before his first birthday, she died of diphtheria. So diphtheria seems to be something that is very prudent. On December 24th, second child was born, Isabella, in New York. Isabella's birth was an inspiration for Neel's Well Baby Clinic, a bleak portrait of mothers and babies in maternity clinic more reminiscent of an insane asylum than a nursery. In the spring of 1930, Carlos had given an impression that he was going overseas to look for a place to live in Paris. Instead, he returned to Cuba, taking Isabetta with him. During the time Enrique's absence, Neel sublet her New York apartment and traveled to work in the studio with her friends and fellow painters. Okay, more. Let's see. So, all right. I know that she has 2 sons that survived her, and she died here in New York. She didn't really get. She didn't stop painting until much late. Like, she never stopped painting ever. She did things, and she had 2 kids that she took care of. Neel, for Director Robert Barrett, young Allen Ginsberg. But she was an amazing woman. Let's see. Pull up my daisy. She did a lot of female nudes, male nudes. But she didn't get recognized until probably the last 10 years of her life is where she was really famous. She's one of my all-time favorites, and that's why we're dedicating this episode specifically to her and the amazing way that she paints. Again, this is Ryan, and thanks for joining Art with Ryan, and don't forget to hit the subscription button below and the notification bell above.